Busting the world's oldest conspiracy by revealing the first writers' formats in the Bible. Have you ever wondered who is editing the Bible? These are some of the words written by the 1611 King James translators that are wrote in its preface. They state 4 reasons how anyone can re-edit the text in the Bible. Their third reason is by the light and feeling we attained unto ourselves. The next arrow down points to them writing, a great clerk, Gregory, is the divine, spelt with a capital D. At the bottom, they will tell you by studying the Bible, your reward is to have a participation in a heavenly nature. Whereas the Bible's words should be telling you how to be obedient to our Creator to enter into heaven. Now you know by their own words, they are not the good guys editing the Bible. Here, let me show you the 12 commandments that are listed in Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 17. Surprising, isn't it? Now let me show you how I changed one word in Exodus chapter 26, verse 26, the word bars to arches, and now you know that these planks make the hip roof for the tent for meeting for Yv. Why did I just use 2 letters for our Creator's name? Well, Hebrews did not have the letters J, O, or W in their language. Therefore, I am closer when I say the letters YV in English than anyone else. It is better to learn how to pronounce these 2 letters in Hebrew. Our Creator made me see Him 8 times, and these videos are my recording of how and why I am re-editing their text. Then all these books that I am editing will be made into one book in order. In my YouTube description, it has our Creator's hidden formats in a PDF of the same text. In fact, it is a message to everyone today and in the future. I have also made many different styles from these hidden formats for copyright reasons. All right, Kings 10. But I'm going to review real quick. I've been finding in Kings 9 here, 2 Kings 9. This is the 3-verse format, as you can see, but what I am looking for specifically is to have 2 major words connected with the least amount of small words that I can. And what happens in a 3-verse is that the first verse becomes like a period as saying it's a statement, and then these 2 combine together as a sentence to define the statement. And this makes a small paragraph, and then another one that's connected really well with it. I put them together as like a larger paragraph, and then I put 2 spaces in between, and you can see it happening again and again. And again, I don't know the guy's name yet, the attendant's name, but that's what I find in the text, and it just reveals itself to me as the words kind of dictate what needs to be corrected or truthfully said, or doesn't need to really be said. So I will show you this here in Kings 10, 2 Kings 10. Boy, that gets confusing. Now the thing here is this king was a good guy, so he gets a capital letter. And then you can see Jehu here, so I might as well introduce you to these 2 kings here. This is Ahab. And this are kings for Israel on this side. And this is Jehu. Now this king here is a son from this king here. And this king died, can't remember how. But the thing here is, or I don't know if we've got his death. But we got this guy here, was a really bad king. That's why he doesn't have a capital letter. Jehu, we know, is a descendant from Jehoshaphat because the text tells us this, but it doesn't tell us why he was over in Israel. And then it's going to be his sons then become the kings for Israel. But I've introduced you to the 2 kings now. Now I better introduce you to the map This is Israel and this is Judah. These are the two nations. Let's see here. No. Okay. Now this is the map at Jesus's time. So, but just think of this as being all Israel. Well, no, that really doesn't describe what's going on here, what I want to do. Okay. What they've been doing is fighting over this land here. This land, this tribe's land has already been taken over by the kings from Damascus. And right now, this is what it looks like. I believe the text is telling me. This is from our Creator's Hidden Formats, but it seems like at this time, these guys are starting to expand and they're trying to go into this territory, or that tribe's land. So, the city for Israel, the capital city, it used to be Bethel for Israel, and then it's another city, I think, in here, and now it's a city, Samaria, that's up in here. So if I need more maps to show you Samaria right here, and this is all a story, and I try to put maps, make maps to match up with the text that's being said, so you have a very good description of an idea of what's going on when you're reading the text. All these formats that I'm finding are going to be put in one long book in the correct order. I hope they're going to be in the best order I can. And now I'll just start editing. So I'm going to be mumbling a lot to myself, but I will be trying to explain why I'm changing words, and this is for history. So when this becomes known, everybody will say, why did he switch these words? That's what these videos are all about. Okay. Now Ahab had 70 sons in Samaria. Now, I don't think he had that many sons. So now this can't be Ahab, because the story above it, he just got done killing this guy. So I'm going to use this king to correct it. And I don't need this guy. And this would be the 70 relatives. "70 relatives" is what I'm going to say to replace this word. But he couldn't have had 70. I think a good number would be 20. Okay. I don't know. I'll figure this number out right, but 70 is way too many. In Samaria. Now this is the city that I pointed to as, it's right here. Oops, again, wrong map. Right here. Let me see if I can get a better one. This is not. Okay. Let me see how many I got open up here. Oh, just this one. Okay, because Jehu is going to be riding back from this city. I don't know where the actual location of the city is, so it could be here, but he has to be riding on this road. And I explained how he was seen as riding coming. The king sent out, and then he said, Then the guy in the tower, the guard in the tower, the watchman, said that this is happening, and then the king went out, and then the king was killed by Jehu, and it has to be someplace along this side of the road, really close here. But for the timing that it has to happen, this is where tells us where Samaria is at. Jezreel is over here, and this is known as the Valley of Jezreel, by the way. But the thing here is and I wouldn't really trust the text when it says that, but I know that that's what it says on your maps. But they name Jezreel more or less over here, and they got Samaria down farther. But the story is here. So, or the stories that I revealed so far are right there, where I showed you where Samaria is at. 20, that's 2 10s is 20, and that's the way they wrote a number. And if it was like 27, it would be and 7. So but actually this is got to be like this. This isn't Samaria. This has got to be like the map that I'm showing you here, that he wrote a letter to these guys here down here. Okay, it's just real. So I'm going to have to put real here. Now you're going to have to trust me on this name. Other than that, you got to look and search all the text to actually, especially like from Kings 1. I think even you got to have King Omar as well. Know what he did. He bought the hill that Samar ended up becoming on. So, but he's going to take a trip because this is he's in Samara. So I can't have him still there and writing a letter to them. So yeah, because he just got done trampling down what's her name here, Jezebel. And so here, yeah, Jezebel. So he's in Samaria there. So if he wrote letters, it has to be to another city. So this would be a closer city by. And this is too many. So maybe he had, maybe it was 2 sons. 2 sons in Jezreel. Okay, let's see how the story goes, because let me see down here. Fit for your master's sons. And 2 kings stand. Okay, they're representing, and 2 would represent who's going to become the king. 2 sons in Jezreel, and Jehu wrote letters and sent them to the rulers. Yeah, there's ruler. There we are, right here. So that's why I said it should be up here. Okay. To the rulers I don't think they're rulers. Can't have rulers. They're officials. Got to be officials in the city there. And this has got to be in Jezreel. So if I use this instead of this, to the Well, it says the elders. Oh, okay. To the officials. To the officials. And I think that's close enough within the shadow of the word. And to, it can't be elders, but it means leaders. There's other, and there, because it's about these two sons, so they have to be, these are guardians, is what is going on here. To the officials in Jezreel and to the leaders and their guardians. But this is telling me that that's not, it's almost like it's like this. And it's been a 3-verse format above. I thought it might have been 4 the way I first started here. Wrote letters and sent them. Okay. And this is kind of like a statement, and this is defining this statement. Letters were sent. And I can't use this word anymore. Wrote. And he only needed to make one letter, I guess. A letter and sent it. And that would be by messenger, by the way. Sent it to the officials in Jezreel and to the leaders and their guardians. If I put Jehu saying, this wouldn't be here, this would be the letter. Saying, now, when this letter comes to you, since the kings, see, they don't know he's king. He just got done killing them, writing a letter quickly and sending it off to here. Although Masters is king, so I can change this. King's sons are with you. With you as well. Since the king's sons are with not with among you. And then I get rid of this. And this I'm pretty much adding. Since the king's sons are among you, select from you Oh, I select from you. Yeah, it's got to be men or warriors or who are they? Strongest. Select your strongest. For this again has to be kings here. King's sons. And that is 4. I got 2 here and there's 2 here. But it's a 3 verse. When it comes to you, since the king's sons are among you. If I add the word to, I can extend this. 2 sons among their people. And that makes that 3. Select from your strongest for the king's sons. He's picking a fight with them, so it's going to be to battle. To battle me for that house, but for now it can't be there. Can't be setting up. Okay, they're going to select from one of them to be their king, but this is the only way you can only have one king. But we know that right now we got 2 sons here, so at least that's supposed to be. For their throne. For their or for them to rule. To rule. Okay, I think that's the intent of what's going on here. It just because the master's house, it's got to be for them to rule. But they feared Jehu greatly and said, now here we got words that are saying that it's two here. But they feared Jehu greatly and said, said, the two sons of the king. Now this is what they said to each other, I'm thinking. They feared Jehu greatly, and they said of the two sons. So this would be yellow. And we stand. How can we fight him? How can we fight him? Battle. I used that once before. Battle him. No, he's a commander. They know he's the commander. They knows you have to be a strong male to be the commander, fearless. So he's going to fight to the death. They don't really know he's a king. So and then that becomes that group. And this before, when I read, I'm reading way ahead sometimes. This I can see we already have that or already know this information. And this is guardians, the one who was over the household. That has to be guardians. So, and the leaders, yeah, it has to be an S because they're the ones up here that were read the letter and said, "Oh man, we got to get ready, and we're going to pick our strongest to go fight them here." So, the intent is leaders, and the leaders. Now, did I have guardian up here? Yep, S. And the guardians of the children. Now they're just children. And that was added. The fuchsia colored words were added in 1977 because I'm using the 1977 NSAB text. Sent word. Sent. And I'm going to have them send their answer. Oops. So I'm getting rid of this one and adding that. And the leaders and guardians sent their answer to Jehu saying, "We are your servants." Okay, let's do this. Let me get rid of this and put it as this. And they sent to Jehu, saying, we are your servants. All that you say to us, we will do, or we will not make any of his sons king. Now it's almost like it's into a 3 verse here. So this is not. Of his sons kings. I guess I can get rid of this verse. All that you say to us, for we will not make any of his sons king. So do what is good in your sight. That makes it a 4 verse. Then he wrote to them a second time, saying, if you're on my side, you'll listen to my words. And cut off their heads. Cut off their heads. And come to me in Samaria. Tomorrow by noon. By noon. This don't need to have in there. It has to be something like the word so they took. And I'm going to say I have to add that word. Oh, there it is. So I don't need to do that. Well, I guess this was all okay. I just got carried away. Took the king's son's heads and put them in a basket. Didn't need two baskets. In baskets. I don't need to put them there. I got heads already by sticking it here. And then we don't need them getting the letter. And sent his head and put them in baskets and sent them to him in Samaria. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't need to put them out there. They sent them. No. Now this, I don't think needs to be in here. I just don't see the reason why the story we're knowing that they killed him, they sent to him, and everybody knew about it. So they knew Jehu was there. He killed his wife, or killed the queen there. So now he's going to be saying something, but where's his introduction where he's saying, and he stood and said, you have to set up the situation. In the morning, he went out and stood and declared, kings declare, so, or proclaimed, but if he's saying himself, he's declaring. In the morning, he went out and stood and declared, it has to be almost like now. This is going to be, I'm adding. No, you all. It has to be you all. No, you all. No, it has to be many. Will die. It has to be. I'm remembering the text I'd done before, and the prophecy is before. Let me show you, because this has got to be soon. By a command from YHVH. Okay, let me pull up the other text here. This is what this assistant was sent by Isaiah, no, Elijah, not Elijah, poured oil on his head and commanded. And he says here, you will kill off those for Jeroboam your king to avenge my servants, and everyone for Joram is to die, to be removed, and every priest to make Jerome's descendants like the descendants from Jeroboam and his son Nadab. Now, and here's the story where they will lick up her blood, okay, in the street. So this is the prophecy that I'm making sure is put here. Now you all know many will die soon by command from YHVH. Okay, now this, I've got two here. Oh, yeah, what he said. Through Elijah, and we know it was a servant that did this. But there's that for. This has to be this king. And that's because it's all the descendants from him. So Jehu killed all the remaining descendants. And that is so none of them could come back and claim that from his lineage they're supposed to become kings. So this is read that it's got to be written from this king, even though he was a good king. This is going to be later in the story. Him left him no survivor, and left him no survivor. Okay. This can't be then, it's got to be when. When he departed and went from Samaria. Met relatives from this will be Ahad's son. You have to know he's the king. Now this is kind of weird because does this become a 3 verse as the story is changing? Because this would go here for 3. See, this could be cut and this could be cut like that. If I keep it 4, and this is going to tell me whether it's 3 or 4 when I start cutting this. How do you know that they were relatives of Ahaz? So the story says he asked them, "Who are you?" So this must have meant that they might have had like a group to travel to guard them, had their own guards. It has to be a reason why he would be asking the question. So, this is telling me it's 3 verse. We have come to greet the king and his sons. Well, we have come to greet our king and queen. Living Samaria. And then I got to make this a 3 verse. As he went from Samaria, Jehu met relatives of Ahaz and asked them, "Who are you?" And they answered, "We are the relatives." So that's how we got to know who they were here. This has got to be a writer writing from Judah's side and writing the story. So they had an advantage of knowing. Of everybody would know the names commonly, but and this is how this writer's putting the story together. Some would have mentioned this later. He asked them who they are, and then they told him. Yeah, I don't see that in here. So, but that's just the style of a writer. He said, take their lives. And he left none of them. Did the captains go with him, or now is he just riding by himself? I'm having a hard time here. And he said to his men, I guess I'll just take their lives. And he left none of them. Now, who is this guy? That's got to be a king. So let me take a look at the king's timeline. This is his son. This is Joash. But as he was leaving, right? As he was leaving, or was he by the gates when I came in? This is what he told them. To do this right, I gotta say this is wrong, and I gotta say this is right. In here, left him no survivor. Now that would be a 3-4 verse going to a 3 verse, because this is the next story. As he was I got to put it this way. And why am I doing this? Because they got to open up the door for him. So, or they're by the gates, they're getting questioned who they are. And that's how he met them. But he asked him, "Who are you?" But this doesn't. We have come to greet our king and queen. I already said they're relatives. With gifts and wine. I guess that's what they are, king and queen with gifts and wine. Okay. And he said to his men, "Take their lives," and left none of them. And none of them lived. So they struck them and killed them. Struck them to kill them. Now I can get rid of that. Now he's going to depart. But I don't know if this story is any good. They're already in Samaria, so because I'm thinking what I'm showing you here is this trip that he makes, then he returns. This was the story of the king coming up here to meet him. That is no longer in this text. And then he sent, those came back, yeah. And then he sent the letter down here, and then they returned there for this story to exist. And the story has changed in this one here. And there is no king here. And wrong button, I click that. Anyways. So I don't think this is needed to be here. We've already got him wiping them out where they're living together in their Samaria. Now, what's missing here, I thought it was in this text, and I'm not seeing it. So I want to explain, I guess, what I'm looking for. There's another prophecy about Jeroboam that he built this altar in Bethel and set up idols for our Creator, and said they can now offer their offerings here in Bethel. And the prophet goes to him and tells him that there will come a king, this guy here, who will burn the bones of the priests, kill them, and then burn their bones or burn their bodies on this altar. And then the story is Jehu also digs up the graves and the bones that are there and is burning everything on that altar. So this prophecy from this time is going to happen by this guy. So and this is Joram, who set up the pagan god Ra and his daughter, the Asherah, and made them sacrifice to a false creator. That's what this guy set up, changed that. They, like I said, changed it from Jeroboam's time through 3 or 4, 5 kings maybe. So what is that, 100 years that was like that? 22, yeah, a little bit more than 100 years. So let's say 40, 70, yeah, almost 100 years. So served Raz. A little would be lesser. And I getting rid of this word, adding this word, adding this word, changing this word, getting rid of that word. Lesser than I will serve him is. At that time, they would have known what this means. He served Raz lesser than I will serve his. if this is a 3 verse, then I got to put in third rise lesser that I will serve his. Now summon all the priests for Ra. To me, and I'm trying to figure out where he's doing this. He'll summon to me the priests for Ra. Well, wait a second. And all his worshippers. If this is going to be in Smyrna, I will have a sacrifice for and the way they sacrificed was kill the animal, roast it, and then eat it. So he's going to hold a feast, more or less. Or I will have sacrifices for Raz. So whoever is missing will not live. I want to say after that day, whoever is missing will not live. I guess I'm going to have to use not as a major word here. But Jehu did it in cunning in order that he not might kill. And this is our Creator's command, by the way. All the worshipers for Raz. Now here they're sending out throughout all Israel. Kill the priests. For all is they aren't worshipers. They got to be like their attendants. It's the only way I can see it making sense. That the priests Ra and all their attendants, for I will have sacrifices for Ras. So whoever is missing will not live. But Jehu did it kindly in order that he could kill priests for Ra. So here he seems to be wanting to do this all at one time, and it's got to be done in Bethel. So this is, how is this prophecy going to happen out of this text? Right now, I finally got the priest here. Okay. We'll hold an assembly. Assembly. Roz at, and then I could put Bethel here. Because he's going to send it throughout Israel here. So, but Roz, and they proclaimed it. Then he sent, so they can't be proclaiming it if he's going to send it. So that they had to replace these words, or this word here. Or I've got this, or I got to have the prophecy that they're there. A decree throughout Israel. I just put sent that decree throughout Israel. Okay. So that they there was not a male left. So it was, this would have been like this. So that there was not a man left, a male left. And I'm going to put many, because I don't think every one of them would have shown up. We know that he sent for these. And many attendants and priests came. To the temple. That's what's needed to make that 3. Now I had to have a courtyard around. They had to make it exactly a different. A house for meeting with our Creator was kind of duplicated for make a temple for Ra and Bethel. So, and had an altar there. But it seems like the courtyard doesn't have a wall there, because when that prophet came, he seen Jeroboam going up to it, and he prophesied to him. So, like, he didn't go inside. The word inside was missing from that text. So, but this temple had to be very large, though, because you're talking about a lot of attendants and priests. They're coming from 10 different tribes. I'm doing real good. How are you today? I see your first time here, so what I'm doing here is finding the first writer's words in Kings right now. I've done many of the other books, and what I'm doing here is I'm using 2 major words and connecting them with the least amount of small words to actually make this small paragraph with 3 verses. In a 3 verse, this becomes a statement, and these 2 become like a sentence that describes the statement. When it repeats itself, then these 2 become like a larger paragraph. That's why you see the extra spacing going through all the text here like this. And then they'll have a 4 verse appear, and the 4 verse will be a comma and a period, and then and a comma and a period, and that makes this a small paragraph with 2 sentences, and then it repeats itself to then again become a larger paragraph. So the text reveals this format when I'm doing it. You sometimes in the intro, I try to explain to people that atheists are in control of the text for the Bible. Well, to prove that there's first writers formats in the Bible is to prove that all this text that I'm removing has been added by somebody else over the years. In the 1611 preface, this is the translator's words out of 12 pages. I just grabbed some. And this is them telling us about what's going on in the text. Notice right here how they're calling a great clerk Gregory the divine. So Jesus isn't divine. Gregory is divine. No, you're not rude at all. If you get rude, I usually don't see your message. So it blocks it out. I've got the curse words taken off. And then what you think of when you're reading the Bible, you would think that you're reading the Bible to find out how to go to heaven. Well, but they put down here, lastly, and the end reward of the study thereof. And this, they're talking about reading the text of the Bible, is just to have a fellowship with the saints and a participation of a heavenly nature, not to be Jesus's servants in his kingdom. So there's many words other than that that do this, or shows that they are atheists, true atheists. And when I mean true atheists, they sit and meditate to have a sex with a female goddess. And let's see here, because I'm talking about Ra and the sun god. This is Ra and the sun god, and on the moon, and this is Athena in Greece with the moon goddess. So that's how he's tied together. On the Vatican wall, they have this guy right here, and you'll see this up in the stars, zodiac sign. The practice that happens for a male when he has sex with his so-called female goddess, a male's maleness retracts inside his body like an animal. They also have an Egyptian obelisk in the courtyard of the Vatican. So I teach all this as I'm going through and doing all these books that I'm going to put together to be a complete story. Let me see here. Where is this? Okay, I've got all the combined zipped of Jesus in this. I'm going to give you this here. This is a link I usually put in all the time in the description on YouTube. That link will show you how I put the books together, and this is from this king here that you see, Joash, which is this king here to this king here at the end times. So that text will have Daniel and then the return after these years. So it's this king all the way till Jesus returns in the hidden format from the books that I've done already, to get a good understanding of what I'm doing here. But I'm pretty much recording for history, because when people find out that this is true, that there are hidden formats, because anybody can actually do like the first 8 Psalms and start figuring out how to make the shortest verse, how to group them together. And then once you start seeing how they're grouped together, you got to say, well, these other words can't happen because we're putting 3 or 4 verses together. And then you'll be getting rid of words like what I'm doing here to have the format appear. If you do Daniel, it's easier, but all Daniel, I think every chapter, no, there's one chapter that doesn't, but they're all 3 verse. So that's easy as to do as well. When I did Psalms, I'll run them here so you can see the Psalms that show Jesus, what I found in there, so you can see how the formats look differently. And they last only about 12 seconds, so you have to take screenshots to get a few of them together. So yeah, I know that comes from everybody. If you just read the text that I've got right now off to the side, take a screenshot and start reading them, you'll see how easy the text becomes to be reading. And you know that if you've ever read the Bible, how confusing it is, how it goes back and forth. So the thing here is when you see it read very clearly and you can understand it the first time. I literally, I've been doing this for more than 30 years. When I did, you're an atheist. Well, no, you're a fake atheist. I don't think you're meditating to have sex with a so-called female goddess. Yeah, well, I've been trying to get the message out, but this is my last time going through the text. I'm getting rather old, and I know that someday I'm going to die, so I got to record the best knowledge that I've been given to show this truth that's here. But see, you've been deceived as an atheist. Um, you only believe from what they're telling you that there's no God, and they give a good arguments that they would say that there is no God. But when you actually, let's see, do I have? No. But let me show you Daniel real quick here. So let me see where Daniel pop up. It didn't pop up. Okay, no, that's not good. Maybe I've got to be on this. No, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I know. I put the atheist in my tags to show you that actually atheists are in charge of the text. But the atheists that I know that are in charge of the text meditate and have sex with a so-called female goddess. And in a male, his maleness retracts inside his body. I mean, when you've always wondered what that half man, half beast, whoops, the wrong one, half man, half beast, you've seen this, and that's ancient. You know, it's a zodiac sign. But that's what it means, is that you have to have this practice to understand. And then they kind of like all those zodiac signs says, hi, we're here and we've been here before you. So if you've seen porn pictures of female sex, you'll notice that maybe they've been putting pictures up of a thin sword-like rosebud that has inch and a half long. Well, that's what happens to a female when she has this practice as well. So now you're beginning to ask some questions here. Do you have, I don't have the mean of evidence of God is less. Atheist for me is what features can barely find evidence of God. Okay. Okay, now let me put this to you. Can you find anything out here around us that has an error? Everything is perfect. Just look how perfect the space that's we're able to see something, and you can see that that space is so crystal clear that you can see stars from billions of miles away. That perfectness that's around us has an order. In mathematics, they got something like what do they call them? Empirical evidence of like I think there's like 29 mathematical problems that are worked out to like the 15th or 25th decimal place, explaining the stars and the motion of gravity and everything by mathematics. So a lot of theologians will argue that's evidence of our creator. You can't have all these things as saying this mathematically fine-tuned to the 25th decimal place for I think it's like 12 of them, and the other ones are all 15 decimal places, and can be repeatable proof. Nobody can change these. These are all proofs. That's why they call them empirical evidence. If you look around and you see and you can't see any errors, then it is perfect. How can it become perfect? So the way I try to explain what I found in Genesis is our creator is our beginning. He separated himself from his nothingness and created heaven. And he sent part of himself back into the universe. So all matter throughout the universe is our creator. That's why everything is perfect out there. Now, you've probably heard like Jesus saying, a camel will go through the eye of a needle before a rich man gets into heaven. And everybody kind of like, what the heck does that mean? Jesus is telling you that he is the needle or the doorway to get to his heaven or his kingdom in heaven. The eye of the needle represents the yes, yes, and the sharp end is no, you're not entering. So that is how the needle can be explained to what Jesus was trying to teach them. He is the only way now to enter into heaven. Jesus never walked on water. There was whitecaps. So the thing here is they did write 2 stories about Jesus like that. In the second story, the disciples said he is a ghost. And what does a ghost do over the water? Yeah, they glide over the water. So Jesus never walked on the water. Let me show you, because if you've probably heard there's 10 commandments. Well, there's actually 12 when you actually put these out. This is the only place you'll find it in the Bible, that there's 12. So everybody that's saying there's 10 commandments are liars, because right there they are. There are 12 of them. So that's how deceptive they are, and how people don't study the text. Another example here is if I change one word in Exodus 26:26 from bars to arches, these boards here are the blue boards that make up the arch or the roof for his tent. So this is the first time in probably 1900 years that this is the proof that it was a hip roof on the tent for meeting. If you ever seen a tent for meeting, or you'll see that the double sides along the side of it. Well, now you know where those sides go. That if you put a roof on there, then it makes more sense. But it is people not knowing that the text is corrupt. Once you start understanding that, if you trust what I'm saying or no, and then you can say, okay, what's the text actually saying from a long time ago? Every reader is going to read a little bit different by the knowledge that our Creator is going to actually understand. So it's always a one-on-one with you and our Creator. He's going to teach you what is true or not. I'm glad you like that story about Jesus never walking on water. Well, people don't read the story. And let's see. Jesus defined what is Holy Spirit, because if you ask people what is Holy Spirit, and I'm trying to find that text, they don't know. They can't. I've been asking them for 30 years and they don't know. But here's the verses. These 2 verses Jesus said, and when you read them, it comes down to, it is not you who speaks, but it is the Holy Spirit. Then you read here, the Spirit of our Father who speaks. So Holy Spirit is actually his holy words. Okay, and here's 2 examples. Zacharias is filled with the Holy Spirit, and he prophesied. That means he didn't know what he was talking about, but he's going to describe about John's life when John was born. And Elizabeth tells Mary she's filled with the Holy Spirit. She didn't say anything, but she prophesied. She told Mary about Jesus in her womb. She can't know that. So here you have to understand the word spirit is breath or words from our Creator. And once you understand this, then you have these 2 to back it up. And then there's these 2 more that will say that are his holy words will teach you that very what you're supposed to say. And that's the disciples that were sent out, that he will make them remember what Jesus said or done when they're being questioned out there. Then Jesus says he even cast out the spirit, or by the Spirit of God, or by words from God, or words from our Father, because the word God is a title. It's not his name. But the thing there is there's a lot to learn, that this says there's no Trinity. Jesus is teaching no Trinity right here. So I'm going to probably be within the next year, I will start making more reaction videos about what people are posting up and saying, hey, this is what we found from Jesus, or this is that, because they don't understand. Have you seen the Shroud of Turin? Well, that is complete lie, because if we go to Jesus, tell him to unwrap Lazarus, it's a tomb is actually the slab that they have hollowed out the side of the hill and made this room, but put slabs there that they put dead bodies on. And they'd wrap the body up around the hands, around the face, around the body. And then what they would do is lay the body there, and then they would bring herbs and spices to put around the body. That way the bugs and insects were not attacking the body. And what that done was, people don't know that what they found in the Black Plague era in Europe, I think it was in the 1700s or something like that, that what they found was that people were dying all over the place, and they were burying them, and then grave robbers would come and go into the graves. And what they found, it was on the underside of the lid, people had claw marks. So they were burying people alive. Well, they put actually a string with a belt on it, and they made a grave shift, a guy just sitting there listening for them to start moving, that they're alive and come and unbury me. That's what they learned then. But way back at Jesus' time, they already knew that they weren't completely dead. So that's why they left them on this slab for 3 days, to make sure that they didn't wake up and they just weren't unconscious for a while. So it's a tomb that they laid him on, and the many tombs are in there. So it was the tombs that he was buried in. And if you see this, they go to the tomb of Jesus like this one little burial, or they got him in a coffin. That's so stupid. But the object is the Shroud of Turin or whatever is wrong, because Jesus said unwrap him. So it had to be wrapped with cloth, so you could wake up and unwrap yourself, but you didn't want the insects to get to him. So that's just how you can prove that that's wrong. But many deceptions out there, and I'm going to correct all of them and teach people the actual true truths about Jesus. The last thing I'm going to mention to you right now is that I'm going to give you a video here that I have all the time in, where is it? That I tell people, if they want to witness that they have a soul, visit the abyss and talk to the dead in the abyss. You can do this. Any male over 13 years old, I say, is safe enough to do this 3 times. And you only really need to do this once. But in this video, I explain how you can actually prove to yourself that you're going to live forever. You have a soul. So if you really want to know the true truths, this is something completely new. But what I'm talking about, because this is going to be hard to explain, but there's back in 1995, when there was less than 9 million people or 9 million web pages, I found a bunch of atheists on the internet, and it was on Yahoo's message boards, and they were posting like 300 posts a day. And that's a lot, even if you did that for today's post, for, messages back and forth. And I got on there and I told them I knew more about their practice of how they sit and meditate. And they doubted me. And then I challenged them, because in Buddha, you play what's known as King of the Hill. Everybody comes back and forth, ask each other questions. And the one who's answering all the questions, or the most questions, and asking questions people can't answer, you're the king of the hill. And what happened is, after that, I gave them that link right there to prove that you don't need their practice to become a god. And once they did that, in that story, I tell you how they have to actually battle out there to their death, and then our Creator will make them see him. So our Creator is a being or he shows himself as a circle, maybe even a flat circle. I can't tell. It's just, his circle is so bright white. There's no flaw in it to know whether it's like a ball or just a circle, but he shows himself as this brilliant purity light. And that's what happened 7 of the 8 times to me. And what has happened is they found good men, really honest, truthfully trying to be truthful all the time and not telling a lie, not being deceptive. And they ended up saying themselves, our Creator made me see him. Since 1995, every year, 1 month before Halloweeny time, male's retraction inside of his body, that this time is the letter X run all over the place. To mean and to stop the practice. They made movies, X-Men helping humans, and then the X-Men are not so smart, they haven't learned. They're fighting with the X-Men, and the guns that are helping the humans are trying to stop their practice. But you go now and look at 1 month before Halloween time, and you'll find there's over 100 television ads running almost all day long for a month before then on your television with this great big letter X. If you go to the drugstore and walk in and read all the aspirins and look at and read the title of the aspirin, and you're going to find a letter X on there, or it'll be like 2 times, which means there'll be a large X there of extra strength, this type of thing. And then when you can't find but maybe 1 or 2 aspirins that don't have this X in them, you got to be amazed. How coordinated is that? Then you start looking around at all the other products on the market with the letter X. Then you're going to know how many of those guys and where they're all at and where they're working, because it is just stunning to start seeing the letter X all over the place. So it took a while to spread through America, then it spread through Europe, and it has spread through Asia. And now that video right here that I've told you about, self-proof of afterlife, that everybody now knows that they don't have to have this practice with for meditating with the female goddess, which is huge. everybody, that's why when you watch Asian dramas, you'll find a lot of Asian people wearing cross, and that's just odd for atheist countries. Okay, they believe in gods, but to have this cross in a lot of dramas, it's really something to see. That's how they're coding, trying to get the people to understand about Jesus in Asia. So, but I got to get going here because I hope that helped you out. I don't even know a few million people know about Jesus walking on. When you hear it from you, if you hear anybody say it, they had to hear it from me, because nobody reads the text. Just like there's 12 commandments. Go ask anybody, and they'll tell you 10. And then when you show them that screenshot of 12, then I'll put that up there so you can do another screenshot of 12. That say, well, take a screenshot of that and say, hey, look, I got proof. Here's a shot of 12. So you can say, hey, atheists are in charge because look at this. There's supposed to be only 10, but here's 12. So who's lying in the Bible? So, but that's what I'm doing here. And I'm at the last 2 books before I put everything together. So it won't be about another month and a half before I will have the hidden format of this first writer's writings being covered up. I have already done our creators' hidden formats, which are really, to make that repeatable, you have to follow rules. And I know that that's going to take me about a year to do. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to do reaction videos to get more people's attention and argue with Trinitarians to say, okay, did you know they spat in Jesus's face, so they spat in the Trinity's face? Can you tell me how many people? Because there is text that says that. So, okay. Now what I'm doing here is I've got Jehu making a decree throughout Israel, and many, okay, the stream's still healthy, priest came to the temple for Ra. Now this has to be in Bethel. So, okay, I got Bethel right here. So, and the temple, Ra, was filled from one end to the other. And I'm gonna not use temple. I'm gonna say courtyard. Well, at this time, the courtyard would have to be a wooden fence around it. So at Jeroboam's time, when he made the altar, and the prophet come and give him that these guys here are going to die at this time, and Jehu's doing the prophecy here. I'm going to have to say I added this word. Let's from one end to the other. Fill from the entrance. I've got to take a quick break, but you can still see I got quite a few Psalms there, so be right back. Made it back. And all right. I see you haven't made another comment, so I think you might be gone. If not, you got another question, go ahead and ask. I will answer it. Entrance. And all sides. Because that's what happened. I was going to say, where did the word all go here? So this has to be this, no, it's this. And I'm adding sides. Maybe got rid of the word the too soon. It was filled from the entrance and all the sides. And this wouldn't have been true. I don't think he needs to say this. I don't think this needs to be said. Then they began to offer their sacrifices as Jehu's men. I'm going to put them down as warriors. Warriors. Station themselves outside the courtyard and said, or he had said, for he didn't tell him then, he had set this up, so for he had said to his men, permits any to escape from your hand. And I'm going to put here and here that I got rid of them there, but I put them over here. To escape from your hand will give up his life. He was a pretty righteous guy, going to go kill all them off. So who permits any to escape will, from your hand, will give up your life. So they were going to set them, as they were rushing in to kill them, the others were going to guard so they couldn't get out of the courtyard. Otherwise, they would have been scattering all over the place. So I have to have the courtyard there. That is definitely now a must because of what's being said here. So we already got them started to make sacrifices. Then Jehu commanded his men go in and kill them. The killing of them, I don't think needs. They went in, they killed them. Well, let's put it this way. I guess I could. And none came out or they killed them with their swords. So these had to be warriors, definitely, because they had to be battle tested to be able to take them on and just start killing them. So now, does that mean they had carried more than 2 swords with them? I don't know. I'm just saying their swords, meaning all of them had swords, not that they all had 2. Okay. Green, green, green. Oh, this I'm going to make yellow. Out, out, out. Reverse. Then I'm going to say that's yellow. Then they brought out. Altars. Because they had to replicate what they knew was going on in Jerusalem. So they had these 12 of them in the courtyard, 13 of them in the courtyard. So this has to be altars. Throw out the altars and burned and burned their bodies. And this is to fill the prophecy, so and burn their bodies and bones on them. Because this is the prophecy that they were going to dig up the bones as well. And I don't know where that is at in here. Then they also broke apart the altars. And the temple. The temple for Ra. And made it all retain to this day. No, I don't think so. Eradicated. They didn't have that word back in the Hebrew day, but let me see here. Okay, 2:20. So thus Jehu killed off then Jehu what he did after. I can I'm reading the text here as that he went throughout them. So then Jehu killed off the worshippers. Ra in Israel. Now that is a great king. That's exactly what they were supposed to do. Now there's mention of other kings cleaning them out on Judah's side from time to time, but not as specifically as this has to be the prophecy. This has to be the prophecy. And I had to add the words bones and bodies. I don't know where that prophecy is at right now to show you, but I will cross-reference all these with numbers later, because as much text as I'm going to have, once I do, I don't get to bookmark. In other words, bookmark would say, take me to here and then return me to here. I think there's only like maybe 50 of them can be set up when I know I'm going to need more like 100. So I've got to make a search but it's going to be on a PDF, so you'll be able to search back and forth. Okay. So this he's gotten rid of. He's did his best. Well, here's Bethel. Here's Bethel. Way down here. But there it is. Just but he just got to kill him. And then okay, so but I'm going to make this yellow just so people know that I got it from here. Or this is the place where it was that this temple was at. And this is righteousness, by the way. The word righteousness is specifically being used as being the one most obedient to our Creator. So this is the intent. Now this means Jehu had to have a vision that we don't have. And YV told Jehu because, whoops, that is what I wanted. Because you have been, it's not done, been obedient. So you have been obedient, executing what is right in my eyes. And done your sons. In executing what is right in my eyes and done to Ahab's. according to my heart, my will, according to my will, your sons will sit as lords of. Now these guys were good. Jehu just cleaned them out, so he would be saying good Israel in all capital letters. And that would be the end. Well, by the commands from YV, our creator. But this text has to go someplace else. Because they have to be evil to do this. This has got to be a 4-verse to make sense. At the after days 4. Now I got to show you this because the text is talking about losing land or tribes' lands. So I got to have this king here. Whoops. Just grab this word here. And I know when I was doing this video, or the video above, this king took Gad, and I was wondering. So this, I gotta say, there's a verse here missing. Guess I can't figure it out right now. Second. If they're east of the Jordan River, here they are. Here's the two. So this is the wrong king here. And this would be East Manasseh. I gotta, oh, got it right there. These got to be small caps. And since I'm adding, this is going to be thin. Then the lands, Israel, from the Jordan eastward, all their land. I put the word for here, get rid of this, get rid of that, put this back. All the land for Gad and Reuben. I already got the mess. Okay. Now this is stuck in the middle. This here, this is going to be a group that's got to go someplace else. Got to go with this king here. And so that text will be moving. Now the rest of the actions, Jehu, and all he did, they are written down in the books of Chronicles and the kings for Israel. Now this Israel, how do I, if I represent it from the time of Saul, no, I got to use, they were 90% bad, or at least 80%. I think we only have 4 kings out of the 9. Okay. Died. And then was buried. This is sad that he was buried there, not with his forefather David. Why there's no graveyards inside Samaria. Now, is this his son's name? Yep. This just went from a 3-verse to a 4-verse. Jehu reigned. This is when they're good. So I gotta have it. Reigned Israel from Samaria. For 2 10s and 28 years. Now I need to check that. 24 years. I've explained this editing for them that time a lot. The times I'm referring to our creators hidden formats on those, and I just have to trust what I've done, and it took me years, at least 2, to figure those kings out. Kept adjusting and rereading it was one of the struggles that I did have. Two spaces go here. 2 spaces go here. Uh-oh. Okay, I got, oh, there's 4 here. But this has to be, see how, notice how this writer went from one story to another, and I've been pointing out the differences between the style of the writers. So one does, and one keeps them separate. The other keeps them separate. That would be 2. 1, that's 2. Would be 1. Then this be 2. This would be 2. And here he's now changing the rate this way. So I guess this must have been probably the same writer. Wrote it both ways. So I guess it didn't matter with the different. I've always been questioning what this is for verse. Whoops, not that. Then it's 1, 2 here. 2 here. 1 here. 2 there. 2. 2. Two, 1, 2. Okay, I was just seeing how the story was reading, and I guess if it does that, yeah, that's the style of that writer. Two, no, something's missing here. Oh, this is that group that I know that's going to be different. So this is going to be 2 groups that got to be moved, which makes this right now it has a missing 3 verse, or yep, 3 verse to complete. Must have been how he died. It's missing because we don't have his death here. So, might have died from old age. So, okay. That's all the text there I'm going to do for right now. Oops. In editing, I got to go through and put all the punctuation in, put the titles in them, and then getting closer. Have a great day.